Hello everyone, welcome back to this lecture series on chemical and physical equilibria. This is lecture number 14. In this lecture I am going to start phase equilibrium. Okay, so far in this lecture series we have discussed chemical equilibrium and factors affecting chemical equilibrium, okay, and a few important concepts in chemical equilibrium. Right, from this lecture onwards I am going to discuss equilibrium involving different phases of a compound or an element, okay, and what are the factors affecting the phase equilibrium. Right, yeah, let's get into the topic. If okay, what is meant by phase equilibrium, also called physical equilibrium? What is meant by that? If different phases of a compound or element exists in equilibrium, then the equilibrium is known as phase equilibrium or physical equilibrium. What is meant by different phases? Different phases means solid phase, liquid phase, gas phase, like that. If different phases of a compound exist in equilibrium, okay, then that equilibrium is called phase equilibrium. Right, so here I have given few examples for phase equilibrium. See this, in this example H2O solid is in equilibrium with H2O liquid. Okay, see what does it mean? Suppose I'll take water in a container, liquid water, and I'll put a piece of ice cube. Okay, this is ice cube and this is liquid water. Right, now if you know very well the solid will melt and become liquid, and liquid will condense and become solid. If these two exist in equilibrium, then the amount of ice remains as such and the amount of water remains as such. Okay, so we can say that these two phases are in equilibrium. Okay, so H2O solid and H2O liquid, right, see they are same compounds but different phase, solid phase, here liquid phase. If same compound, okay, exists in different phases, and these phases, if it is exists in equilibrium, we call that equilibrium as phase equilibrium or physical equilibrium. Okay, see this is another example. CO2 solid is also called dry ice. Okay, and you know very well at room temperature, right, dry ice directly goes to gas phase. Okay, it is a sublimation process. So solid CO2 become gaseous CO2, right? If it is a closed container under a particular temperature, at a particular pressure, okay, at a particular temperature, at a particular pressure, these two phases will come in equilibrium. Okay, we call that as a phase equilibrium. Okay, so vaporization, this is melting, right? Melting can exist in equilibrium, sublimation can exist in equilibrium. Then last one, see here an element, okay, say here sulfur has different allotropic form, rhombic sulfur, monoclinic sulfur, sulfur vapor, liquid sulfur, etc. Here rhombic sulfur and monoclinic sulfur, okay, exist in equilibrium at a particular temperature and at a particular pressure. Okay, so in this lecture we are going to discuss how different phases of a compound or an element exists in equilibrium and what is the criterion for equilibrium. Okay, yeah. Now, so if two phases of a compound exist in equilibrium, or for two phases of a compound to exist in equilibrium, what is the criteria? Right, so thermodynamic criteria of phase equilibrium, okay, or phase equilibria. Suppose consider a system containing a pure substance A. So I'll take A is pure substance here, which exists in two different phases. For example, A exists in liquid. See, I'll take a closed container here. In this closed container, the pure substance A present in liquid phase, I am representing that as alpha, and the pure substance also exists in vapor phase or gaseous phase, which I am representing as beta. Okay, so these two phases, right, will attain, very well, at any temperature, liquid will become vapor and vapor condenses and become liquid. So these two processes will occur, right, in the opposite direction, and this system will attain equilibrium after some time. Okay, so here the pure compound A, right, in alpha phase and the pure compound A in beta phase exists in equilibrium. Okay, we call this as a physical equilibrium or phase equilibrium. Now listen, here the pure substance exists in two different phases, and the two different phases are in equilibrium, right? Now what is the Gibbs free energy for this system? Gibbs free energy for this system is a function of temperature, pressure. Okay, it's a function of temperature, pressure, number of moles of the component A in alpha phase and the number of moles of the component A in beta phase. Okay, so Gibbs free energy depends on these four factors, okay, or variables. Now if any change in free energy occurs, okay, the change in free energy occurs due to change in temperature or change in pressure or change in number of moles of A in the alpha phase or change in number of moles of A in beta phase. Therefore we can, in general, we can represent change in free energy as, okay, change in free energy with respect to temperature dou G by dou T, keeping pressure, number of moles of A in alpha phase, number of moles of beta phase, A in beta phase, right, keeping these three constant. If we vary only temperature, then how free energy changes with the temperature? Okay, that is given here, dou G by dou T at constant pressure and number of moles of A in alpha phase, number of moles of A in beta phase into dt. This gives you total change in free energy due to change in temperature. Similarly, see this term gives you total change in free energy with respect to pressure or due to change in pressure, and the third term gives you total change in free energy with respect to change in number of moles of A, okay, in the alpha phase, and the last term gives you total change in free energy with respect to number of moles of A in the beta phase. Okay, yeah, so we have four terms here. Suppose if I keep temperature and pressure constant, okay, at constant temperature dt becomes 0. If dt becomes 0, then the first term, this first term becomes 0. Similarly, at constant pressure dp becomes 0, therefore the second term becomes 0. Therefore we can write, okay, at constant temperature and pressure we can write dg equal to, okay, listen, see this term dou G by dou Na. This is a very familiar term. Okay, change in free energy with respect to number of moles is nothing but chemical potential. Okay, so this is chemical potential of component A in alpha phase, right? Similarly, this term will give you chemical potential of component A in beta phase. Okay, right? So here observe carefully, at constant temperature and pressure the first two terms, that is this term and this term, these two term vanishes. Okay, and we have only these two terms, that is term 3 and term 4. So we can represent this as, yeah, at constant temperature and pressure dg becomes equal to chemical potential of A in the alpha phase into dNA, change in number of moles in the alpha phase, plus chemical potential of A in beta phase and change in number of moles in beta phase. Okay, now suppose at equilibrium, okay, let us consider at equilibrium, say for example dNA moles, okay, dNA moles of substance, right, transfer from alpha phase to beta phase in a reversible manner. Okay, right, so this is actually a condition of thermodynamic reversibility, right? So what I'm trying to say is this transfer, that is DNA moles of compound A, right, is transferred from alpha phase to beta phase in a reversible manner. Okay, so DNA moles of, if DNA moles of compound A transfer from A alpha phase to beta phase, and this transfer occurs reversibly. Okay, reversibly means the transfer occurs in a very slow manner. Okay, so in that case we can write the equation 1 as dg equal to chemical potential of A in alpha phase. Now some moles, DNA moles, is transferred from alpha phase to beta phase. Therefore there is a decrease in DNA moles in the alpha phase, and there is a corresponding increase in DNA moles in the beta phase. Okay, so since in alpha phase there is a decrease, I am representing this as minus DNA, this much mole decreasing. Okay, and the same amount DNA moles will increase in the beta phase, right? So I have represented this here. Now see, here we have minus chemical potential of A in alpha phase, and here we will get chemical potential of A in beta phase. If we take DNA as common, then we can write chemical potential of A in beta phase minus chemical potential of A in alpha phase into DNA. And since this transfer occur in a reversible manner, and you know very well, at equilibrium, right, if a process occurs in a reversible manner, we can say that the system attained equilibrium, right? At equilibrium, we know very well change in free energy is equal to 0. Okay, or for a reversible process, change in free energy should be equal to 0. Okay, so if dg equal to 0, then see, you put dg equal to 0 here. So what we'll get? Then you will get chemical potential of A in beta phase minus chemical potential of A in alpha phase into DNA equal to 0. Okay, so you will get this equation, right? Then see, since DNA moles, some number of moles is transferred from alpha phase to beta phase, this is not 0. Some mole is transferred definitely. Okay, so DNA is not 0. If DNA is not 0, in order to satisfy this equation, see, DNA is not 0, therefore this quantity must be 0. Okay, so chemical potential of A in beta phase minus chemical potential of A in alpha phase, this should be equal to 0, or we can write chemical potential of A in alpha phase should be equal to chemical potential of A in beta phase. This is the criteria for a substance to be in equilibrium between two phases alpha and beta. So this is the criteria for a substance exists in two phases. For a substance exists in two phases at equilibrium. Okay, suppose if a substance exists in many phases, okay, right, say if a substance exists in alpha phase, beta phase, gamma phase, delta phase, like that, and in all the phases, right, the substance exists in equilibrium, right, then we can write in general the criteria of equilibrium, right, or thermodynamic criteria of equilibrium as chemical potential of the component A in alpha phase should be equal to the chemical potential of the component A in beta phase should be equal to chemical potential of A in gamma phase. Okay, like that. So how many phases that exist in equilibrium, right? You have to equate all the chemical potentials, right, of component A in all phases, okay, in as equal, right? Yeah, so this is the criterion, thermodynamic criterion for equilibrium of a substance exists in different phases. Okay, then now I like to give this information. This is very, very important. Suppose if we have a pure substance, for a pure substance, how chemical potential varies with the temperature. Okay, see, chemical potential versus temperature of a pure, I'm sorry, there's a spelling mistake, it is pure substance. Okay, it's a pure substance, right? Listen, for a pure substance, we know very well, for a pure substance in a closed container, change in chemical potential d mu equal to molar volume into dP minus molar entropy into dt. This is a well-known equation. This is applicable for pure substance in a closed system. Okay, yeah. Now at constant pressure, if you keep pressure constant, then dP becomes 0. If pressure is constant, this dP becomes 0. If dP becomes 0, this Vm dP becomes 0. Therefore we can write change in chemical potential equal to minus molar entropy into dt, or bring this dt to the left hand side. So we can write change in chemical potential dou mu by dou T at constant pressure equal to minus molar entropy of the substance. Remember, your substance may exist in solid phase or liquid phase or gas phase. Okay, so if you plot chemical potential in y-axis and temperature in x-axis, okay, we will get a straight line with a negative slope. Okay, why we will get a negative slope? Because molar entropy of a substance at any temperature is a positive quantity. Okay, listen, molar entropy, right, whether it is a solid or a liquid or a gas, right, at any temperature, right, these values, that is molar entropy of the solid, molar entropy of the liquid, molar entropy of the gas, always a positive quantity, right? So since Sm is positive and we have negative sign in front, therefore listen, this is nothing but slope. This is nothing but slope of the straight line, okay, that is obtained when we plot chemical potential in y-axis and the temperature in x-axis. Okay, so you will get we will always get straight line with a negative slope, okay, when we plot chemical potential versus temperature. Okay, right? Now how this slope will vary? Will the slope remain same for solid phase, liquid phase and gas phase? No, definitely not. Why? Yeah, see, at any temperature molar entropy of the solid phase will be less than the molar entropy of the liquid phase. You know very well, entropy increases as randomness increases. In solid phase, right, molecules are tightly packed, so entropy will be very, very less. But if you go to liquid, in liquid molecule starts to move, right, so molar entropy increases. So compared to solid phase, liquid phase has higher entropy, higher value of entropy. If you go to gas phase, okay, where randomness is very, very high, so molar entropy of the gas phase is very, very high. Okay, and in this equation we have negative sign, so if you include negative sign, then this negative of molar entropy of solid will be more than this and this. Okay, but let us consider this one. Using this you can easily explain. Listen, say molar entropy of gas phase is very, very high. Therefore the slope du mu by dt, del mu by or dou mu by dou t at constant pressure, which is equal to minus of molar entropy. Since for gas phase molar entropy is high, okay, since we have negative sign in front, you will get slope, okay, you will get a more negative slope, right, for gas phase. So that's why if you plot chemical potential versus temperature, okay, for a pure substance, right, you will get a straight line for solid with a less slope. We'll get a straight line for liquid with a little more negative slope, and if you plot for gas phase, you'll get more and more negative slope. Okay, so slope for gas phase is more negative compared to liquid phase and compared to solid phase. Okay, so keep this information in mind, very, very important. Okay, if you compare slope of the straight line for chemical potential with temperature, okay, the slope will be less negative for solid phase, okay, little more negative for liquid phase, and very, very more negative for gas phase. Okay, this is very, very important. Then this point, okay, at this point chemical potential of the solid and chemical potential of the liquid become equal. Okay, at this point chemical potential of solid and chemical potential of liquid are equal. So this temperature is what we call as the melting point, okay, or melting temperature of the substance, right? Similarly, at this point chemical potential of liquid phase is in equilibrium or is equal to chemical potential of gas. Okay, so that means the liquid phase and gas phase are in equilibrium at this point, and this temperature is what we call as boiling point. Okay, so we can give definition for boiling point and melting point like this. That is, what is boiling point? Boiling point is the temperature at which liquid phase, the chemical potential of the liquid phase and chemical potential of the gas phase become equal at a given pressure, right? Similarly, what is melting point? Melting point is the temperature at which chemical potential of the solid and the chemical potential of the corresponding liquid become equal, right, at a given pressure, right? So this is the definition for melting point and boiling point. Okay, so keep all these things in mind, and by next class I'll do some more aspects of phase equilibrium. Okay, till then, thank you for listening.